Make sure it's straight up rider for real. I don't know if I should give you the key to my soul. I don't know. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Naya Athena, and we are back with another review for the next episode of Avatar The Last Airbender live action series, episode 4. So let's get straight into it. Got a lot to talk about. Jumping right back into the storyline, the plot. Aang meets Uncle Iroh in jail for a second time, because the first time he met him was when he was getting locked up on the Fire Nation on Zuko's ship. But this time they were both locked up in the Earth Kingdom, aka Omashu, with the Dai Li and all of them, right? Cool. So, well, not cool because they trapped. Next scene, Sokka confronts the Mechanist, aka Sai. But in doing that, he also reveals that to his son, Tio. And so, of course, Katara's the one to find Aang, because who else gonna do it? If not her, then who? Then we pan to this scene. Zuko sneaks into the jail undercover, even though the way that he quote unquote snuck in, it was not giving sneaky at all. He literally, it was one of those moments where, the Dai Li are walking past a bush. One Dai Li stays behind, looks in the bush. Zuko takes him, do a little fire bending, and, put his clothes on or whatever. But it's just it was very loud. It didn't give sneaky at all to me. I don't know how nobody noticed that. You in the Earth Kingdom, you didn't feel that heat. That's crazy to me. But okay, sure. We see baby Boomy talking to 12-year-old Aang, who obviously looks the same. And baby Boomy, I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't seeing the vision when I seen baby Boomy. And I was just I don't know, it wasn't given. And I don't know why all the actors don't seem very into their part. Not all of them, because Aang is perfect, Sokka's perfect. I'm still getting used to Katara. Zuko is okay, The rest of them though, and Uncle Iroh is perfect. Everybody else though, I don't like some of their voices is too soft and mild and meek, and they're not fully that character. I didn't think he was fully that character, the kid. But he did a little bit, he did what was written, he did it well. But me personally, it just wasn't giving the kookiness and craziness of Boomy, how I expected, how I thought in my head. So in this moment, when I wrote this down, I knew I was writing from a place of knowing what happens next in Avatar, but I'm not going to say it for the sake of this video. I'm going to just say Uncle Iroh is having a conversation with Aang. And basically, he gets this lost look in his eye as he explains to Aang, Fire Lord Ozai's lack of empathy and sympathy, and basically saying, I was clocking all the quotes that Uncle Iroh was saying. But yeah, he was basically saying, Ozai he just want to win the war. It's just win or lose to him. He don't care who he loses, even the loved ones along the way. It's time to open the secret tunnels. Secret tunnels. Secret tunnels. Yes, the secret tunnels. I was looking forward to this, even though I had already kind of got a spoiler, which I didn't even peep it was a spoiler until I realized it was a spoiler, and I'm like, dang, I already know what's gonna happen. But I'm like, whatever. Mind you, they were saying that they were taking Uncle Iroh to the pit, which is basically a prison camp that nobody ever comes back from. And now, in the moment, I'm like, okay, a pit is I don't know what the pit is. But then I started thinking, is the pit that place with the steamed hot water place? Is that it? I feel like that's the place they were talking about with the hot water around it so nobody can get out. I feel like that's what they was talking about. So they was going to take Iroh to the pit. Apparently it was ran by the Dai Li at the time. So, boom. Now we see Boomy. We see King Boomy, who is 112 years old, just like Aang. But, clearly he's aged. Boomy looked perfect. Boomy did his thing. Boomy was spot on. I see why they casted the kid though, because they look exactly like it did look like a young Boomy, like for real. But I just wish the kid would have acted more like, But old Boomy did his big one. Okay? Casting was on point, on fleek. See, now this is where they started to change things, because Boomy shows up, they bring Aang to him, and Aang immediately recognizes him. That was not in the original. I can't say I was mad at it though, because why wouldn't you recognize your friend? Like, you know what I'm saying? You know? So I couldn't necessarily be mad, because in the original I kind of questioned, like, how you not recognize your friend? Like, me for real. We also see this is the moment when Katara finds her little handy dandy water pouch. Before her bending was like at its peak, she get her little water pouch, so she started thinking smarter, not harder. And at this point, Jet shows back up, and he like, you a traitor. Like, you supposed to be on our side. He's basically confronting her. And it turns into Katara versus Jet. Round 1. That round didn't last too long though, because embarrassingly enough, Jet got knocked on his butt, bro. It was embarrassing. It was like a 2-second fight. It was actually like crazy. And then he gonna try to take credit for her bending, because her bending is better, obviously. Trying to take credit for her bending. Like, what? Zuko's in the camp at this point. He is walking. He gets caught by one of the little guards. They like, what you doing over here? And then I guess the guard ends up telling him, like, the other prisoner is here, this prisoner is there, talking about Aang and Iroh. And Zuko like, oh, the Avatar. Oh. So he's faced with a choice. Do I go for the Avatar, or do I go for my uncle? Do I go for family? Boom. So we'll come back to that. Now, we're at the feast. We are at a feast because King Boomy is like, all right, throw him a feast. Like, but Boomy is crazy. So Boomy is like flipping. Like, he'll be like, throw him in the, and then he'll be like, a feast. Like, you know what I'm saying? Trying to make it funny, trying to, he cracky. He little loco. He throws Aang a feast, and he's basically like, okay, which one do you want? You want this one, or you want this one? And Aang goes for the one without the meat in it, because he's like, I don't eat meat, bro. Like, and he was like, oh yeah, you don't. Like, he acting like it's a problem. Like, oh, you don't. In this one, it was a little twist. It was a little different. One of the trials was a crystal, and Aang just blew it away, I guess. I don't know. Kind of like not accurate with the original, but I'm not mad at him. I shook that off. Shake that off. Boomy over here making puns. He over there trying to be funny, but intense at the same time. It's like, what are you really trying to say? What's teeth? So in this one also, Sokka and Katara end up going through the tunnels together instead of Katara and Aang. Because remember, in the original, if you watch the original, Katara and Aang go in the tunnel, and that's where their like little love quarrel blossoms. But I guess they ain't want to do it like that. I'm like, all right, whatever. So Sokka and Katara go in there. And honestly, it kind of was a little too fast for me, because I feel like the Secret Tunnels was its own little side quest in Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I kind of wish they would have put a little bit more effort into it, just a little bit more effort, a lot, because I didn't like how fast they learned about the glowing stars. Like, they learned about the glowing stars mad fast. Sokka just like seen him in the corner and was like, oh, I don't know. It was just like too fast for me. But I loved the hippies that they ran into, the secret tunnel hippies. They were perfect, The music was A1, 10 out of 10. And I also loved how they emulated the tale of the two lovers too. That was really cool. Like, it reminded me of like Game of Thrones intro. It was so dope. I knew they was gonna eat down when they told the story. Meanwhile, Iroh's getting taken to this pit, and they over there abusing him. Like, the freaking guard is literally abusing him. Mind you, Iroh's an old man, but I guess the guard got something against firebending. Clearly, everybody does. Now, when Boomy is giving Aang these lessons, I really feel like he was being super metaphorical with the lessons that he was trying to give him and the little quotes he was trying to say. I didn't catch the quotes too much, because it was like, I was thinking. I couldn't catch it all, but I was thinking. But I think it was very metaphorical for sure. Then we see Zuko going through the forest, and he found a white lotus tile, which is Uncle Iroh's special coin. He don't play about that. Clearly, he dropped it on purpose, because he's like, I know my nephew finna come for me. Like, what? And Zuko is like, all right, so at this point, that's how we know Zuko chose to save his uncle instead of go for the Avatar, because at this point, like, family come first. You know what I'm saying? Zuko always been a family man at heart. I respect Zuko. I also hated when Katara and Sokka was in the secret tunnels. I hated how, like, Katara just picked a fight with Sokka. Like, it was never giving that. Like, yeah, they fought a lot in the original, but why did she literally just picked the fight out of nowhere and then, like, ended it. She started it and ended it. Like, she was out of line for that. I don't know. Like, I feel like Katara, I don't know. That was kind of corny. That wasn't giving the Katara that I know and love. Definitely could have went without that. So then we learn why the soldier is so, like, hell-bent on abusing Uncle Iroh. He basically ends up saying, like, oh, when Ba Sing Se was in the war against the Fire Nation along with the other, nations, his brother, who was only 19, was killed trying to, fight and just be there for the village and stuff. So yeah, he just keep abusing Iroh. One of my favorite quotes from Iroh in this episode, he said, "War pushes us to the edge. Some of us don't like what we find there." It was so simple. It was so simple, but it was so real. And I was like, bro, Iroh was spitting this whole episode. I'm telling y'all, like, he really was. And then the soldier was like, "You don't know nothing of loss." And it's like, bruh, you don't even know. He learned about loss, and then he stopped what he was doing because it humbled him. Like, that's so crazy. This is when we finally learn what he was remembering earlier on in the episode, which was that he lost his son, like I just said, in the war against Ba Sing Se. Like, he was ruling Ba Sing Se for 600 days, but then his son got killed and he abandoned the war, and people saw him dying, saw his son dying as a hero and saw him as a coward. But it was just like, it was his son, like, no empathy. Nobody had no empathy or sympathy for him. And it's crazy because in those moments, Zuko was right there by his side. So he was like, dang, like, that's family for sure. Real family. Oh, and I loved how they put Uncle Iroh's song, like, ooh, how they arranged it. I love how they arranged Iroh's song. Like, you can hear it under the dialogue. You can hear it under the dialogue. And it was just so pretty. Like, I loved it. So obviously the last trial Aang is faced with, Bumi is like, "Me versus you." And Bumi was saying some, like, interesting stuff too, because he was saying, like, lessons to Aang in his lessons, but he was like, obviously comparing it to the real world that Aang had to deal with as the Avatar and as war was approaching. He's like, you're gonna have to make hard decisions. So he like, "Me versus you," and Aang's like, "Nah, bro." And it's like, no, you gonna have to make some decisions like this, and somebody gonna have to go. It's an impossible decision. Crazy. And then we see the Badger moles in the freaking tunnels, and they look terrifying. They literally look terrifying. And then we see Zuko saving Iroh, swooping in and saving Iroh, and then they're fighting, and Uncle Iroh is raw with it, of course. We knew that, but it was raw. He did like a fire whip. It was fire, literally. And and then Iroh is like walking up to the guard who was pretty much abusing him just a second ago, and he's like, "Go ahead, kill me. That's all y'all do." And Iroh was like, "Bro, we seen enough death." And he walks away, and the dude throws a knife at his back, bro. And Zuko tried to save him, but it was just like, it was too late. He had been stabbed, and then Zuko gonna pull the knife straight out his back. Zuko, why would you do that? But yeah, man. Oh, and I guess when the Badger Mole was like chasing Katara and Sokka, like at the last moment, they just held hands like, "Bro, I love you. I'm sorry," because it's like sibling love. And I guess the Badger Mole, like, since she was saying the Badger Moles go off feeling. I don't know if that was in the original. I don't think it was like that at all, actually, or maybe it was. But Badger Moles are Earthbenders, so I was a little like, I don't remember. But I know they was like basically saying they sense feelings, so they go off love. Like, they'll show you the way if you have love, within you, I guess. I'm not gonna lie, the earthbending does look better. Like, seeing King Boomy earthbend, I was like, alright. It's alright. It's cool. It's better than what I thought it was, but it ain't. But it's cool. It's cool. Like, he made quicksand. Like, yeah, that was hard. And it's crazy because in the last moments of Aang trying to hold up these rocks that Bumi is putting over him and himself and Aang, like, Katara and Sokka swoop in and get Bumi out the way, so it's like Aang doesn't have to make that type of decision anymore between himself and King Bumi. And he's like, bro, I learned that you could depend on your friends. I feel like that was so real. That was so real. Like, decisions that may seem impossible because you're trying to make them alone versus, like, when you have friends, you don't necessarily have to, it don't got to be that hard. Don't make things harder for yourself. It's okay to depend on people, pretty much. And I appreciated that lesson. That's so real, because everybody needs a sense of community, to be honest. So I found it cute too that Aang let Bumi call Appa on the little Appa whistle. That was real cute. And Sai rejoined the Earth Kingdom side, so he stopped work. He set up the Fire Nation spies, so that was cool. The Mechanist Sai, yeah, him. And at that point, Omashu rejoins the war. Like, they're like, okay, we finna start fighting again. We not finna keep hiding. Hello. And I found it funny too, because Zuko and Iroh were getting on a little kayak boat. And Iroh was like, I guess our life is gonna be getting on and off of boats. And I'm like, that's an interesting quote as well. I was like, Iroh really spitting, because what are you saying? But also, I get it. Like, and it's crazy because Zuko literally sees the Avatar team flying overhead on Appa. So it's like, dang, he's like, I gotta make sure my uncle's straight first. Like, it ain't gonna be worth it if my uncle ain't by my side. You feel me? That's so real. He always had loyalty in his heart, like, for family and stuff. And then the song plays softly again on some strings, on some piano. Leaves on the vine. It was so beautiful. It was beautiful. Leaves on the vine. It was real beautiful. That was a beautiful episode. A lot of lessons, a lot of good, things to think about. A lot of things to think about. I wasn't mad at it. So with that being said, hope you guys like it, share, comment, tell a friend, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.